Welcome to this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Matthew Silva. He's the creator of Ready Evolve, an online fitness and mindset training program rooted in his personal journey of conquering rejections, losses, and failures. Welcome to the show, Matthew.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Appreciate it.
Welcome to the show, Matthew. You are welcome to India in this online form. And I'm sure a lot of people, not just in India, but across the globe, will learn from you about fitness, about mindset, and success. But before that, the first thing I want to understand, Matthew, about you a bit more. I've told about you, but then what better than you yourself telling the audience who exactly is Matthew Silva? Is he an ex-marine? Is he a creator of Ready Evolve? Is a online fitness person, or there is much more to Matthew than what it is there?
Mhm. Well, Matthew is all of those things. All of those things helped create the Matthew you see before you, all the good, all the bad. I was raised in a Christian home. My background is Brazilian. I was raised in Brazil for a while. But coming to the U.S., I was born in the U.S., moved to Brazil, moved back. I've had a mix of the American and Brazilian culture and being raised Christian. And I did serve my country honorably, hence the flag. And all these experiences just led me to a point of where I finally found my purpose, which is to be the best version of me and to help other people be the best version of themselves.
Right, right. So tell us a bit about your journey. How did you first think of becoming into getting into Marine Force, and then
Hmm.
afterwards your journey about getting into a nightclub, and then on to the present situation about fitness and mindset. So help us understand a bit of that. How did you? Was it all decided, or one thing led to another? I want to understand a bit of a journey for the audience.
I mean, I'll be honest. I was raised in a good home, good, stable home. There was no trauma. There was nothing like that. That's a reason I'm sharing my message, because there's so many people with much worse backgrounds with a greater message that they're afraid to get in front of a camera. So just the fact that I'm sharing my message is a reason for other people to share it. But for me, I suppose the Marines is just something I was always attracted to. The military always was. I was always a disciplined person, even as a kid. And the fitness aspect of it was just something because I grew up working construction with my dad and my brother. And sometimes it would tease me about being the weaker one. And it just stuck to me. And then I started working out, and it just kept on. I just stayed working out all the time, became a part of my personality. I finally, when I joined the Marines, it was just something I always wanted, honestly. I was always desiring to wear the uniform and to serve my country and serve something greater than myself, which I think is a trait that everybody has, is they want to be part of something bigger than themselves. And the military was a perfect route for that. And I obviously joined the Marines because I heard it was the toughest branch. So I joined the Marines. I did my best with my time there. I was meritoriously promoted to corporal and meritoriously promoted to sergeant as well. Which that's usually when you, instead of, there's two routes to get promoted. It's by your score, and it's by the higher up command saying, hey, this guy he deserves to be promoted now. And you put in a package and you compete against other Marines and you get it. So I was always striving for better. I was definitely taught a good work ethic from my father when I was working construction, because when he got us working construction, more specifically, it was masonry. When you're doing that as a kid and growing up, nothing else is difficult. So went to the Marines. After the Marines, I kind of fell off. I had no sense of purpose. So I was leading the construction business in Washington State. But I got a side job as a bouncer at a nightclub, and that pretty much just, I lost control. I was just pleasure seeking at that point. And then I moved here. My father had ALS. He passed away 5 months ago. He had ALS, and my parents were in Washington. They moved to Florida. And basically, I moved here to help my mother take care of him. And in moving here, it tore me away from the friendships, the people, the habits, the pleasure seeking, all the influence of what I was living back there. And when I got here, I realized I wanted to be successful. I wanted to change my life. And I looked at my hands and I was like, what do I have in my hands? What can I do? What can I teach people? What's my passion? And I'd been posting about fitness for years already on Instagram. And so when I took the plunge, a lot of people told me finally, when, we were waiting for this. And I realized that fitness was just a starting point. In this whole 6 or 8 months that I've been building my brand and my fitness program, I've realized that fitness is just a tipping point for self-development and self-mastery and being a better version of yourself. And that's where I am today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You are in the right place and you were there. So the time that you spent with your family, you had it in a way made you leave behind so many things that you should have left behind earlier on. But then, some things happen differently. Your father,
Mhm.
taking care of your father, that brought you back to, Florida, if I understand. And then, right,
Yeah.
you were saying?
No. Yeah. I brought back to Florida. It seems like I always keep gravitating back to Florida. I was born in Virginia. We moved to Brazil. When we moved back, we moved to Florida for a year. Went back to Virginia for 16 years. I moved back to Florida for a few years. Moved to Washington, and now I'm back in Florida. So yeah, back to Florida.
Right, right. Some places they keep you, uh, wanting to get back so that they can give you what you should get. That's perhaps, this
Mhm.
lesson of life. But I want
Mhm.
to understand you now talk about fitness that you realized about
Mhm.
it at that point in time that, okay, this is what you can do, this is what you are
Mhm.
passionate
Mhm.
about. You
Mhm.
talk about, wanting to be successful earlier on, but
Mhm.
did not know how,
Mhm.
and now you knew about, after all this journey, then you came to know, okay, you can look at fitness in terms of helping others, inspiring others, as well as, in
Mhm.
terms of, you know uh, doing something that can take care of you, mean paying bills and taking care of you. So I want to understand then, how should people look at success for themselves? Many a times we all want success, but
Mhm.
we never look at things that can make us successful, whereas those things may be very much part of us. How did you come to look at the very thing which was with you? Because in as a marine, you have to be fit, and that thing. So that process itself is your skill, your asset. So I want you
Mhm.
to help us understand, how should especially young people look at achieving success, and what are
Mhm.
the ways they can look for themselves. Like, when, in terms of fitness, you have to look at what is the exercise that might suit this person more, and
Sure.
then according to the type of physique one has got. I want to
Mhm.
you to understand this particular thing from your point of view, from your journey.
Mhm. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm glad you asked this question because it's really the evolution of who I am now. It started off as success. This is where perspective comes. Success in my mind when I got here was, I got to be rich. I got to make money. How am I going to make money? I got to build a business. What am I going to sell? Right. This is the thought process of what success was in my mind. And the only thing I had was hearing from successful people: invest in yourself. How do you invest in yourself? Read. Read books. Read Think and Grow Rich. Read Rich Dad Poor Dad, right? And starting with rich, the words on the books, right? However, when you read about success and you seek success, success is not what you have; it's who you become. It's about changing yourself to be a person that attracts success and not achieves. It's not about learning what to do with money. It's about learning how to be a better person. It's about learning characteristics of somebody who's successful, somebody who's always positive, somebody who does not give up, somebody who's consistent, somebody who's disciplined. These are all characteristics that you need to adhere to, you need to embrace, and you need to master. That's how you're successful. It's your mindset. It's who you are as a person. Everything else will come. But I looked at success as, oh, he's got a lot of money, he's successful. No. Does he take care of himself? What does his body look like? What does his mind look like? What does he think about? Who does he relate with? Who are his friends? What is a conversation on the table? That's what success is. And that to me was mind blowing because I was thinking, like I said, success is money. You got it. No, it's not that at all. And as I started reading, I started investing in myself, and I started reading more and more and more. I started learning that not only am my knowledge going up about success, my self-worth was going up. I started seeing myself and being like, wow, so I have this fitness. I'm pretty advanced in fitness. Why not share this with people? People are struggling with this. It's obviously a balance of you being, knowing that you need to grow, but also knowing what you're capable of. Life is about balance, I always like to say. So I realized that I have this tool. I just love fitness, and other people need to know about it, and I can help them. I hope that answers it.
Right, Matthew. Let's talk about, reading and seeking wisdom.
Mhm.
Obviously, you knew about fitness, but reading is a difficult task, especially in today's time. Especially nowadays, there are so many distractions. How
Yes.
did you? And that is where even I have grown up reading things. But nowadays it happens very less. But
Mhm.
all the wisdom of the past that helps me understand things. Ask perhaps a few good questions here and there. So I
Mhm.
want to understand, being very young, how did you get to learn about reading books and
Mhm.
seeking wisdom? Nowadays, people seek wisdom a lot from WhatsApp and from online things. Nothing wrong with
Mhm.
that, but
Mhm.
until unless you land up with the right sort of content to learn. So I want to not only understand how did you think of books to read, that this is where the actual wisdom lies. How did you
Mhm.
inculcate in your life? And secondly, I want to understand what would you like to tell people, especially the young generation, about
Mhm.
looking at books as the place that can actually give them a new direction in their lives.
Mhm. Mhm. Excellent question. Your questions are excellent, by the way. The one I posted about this morning, social media. Social media is an excellent tool to build, or it's an excellent villain to destroy you. Okay. Social media, you need to use social media for your benefit, not let it use you. Social media is actually, I honestly don't remember who told me about Think and Grow Rich. Um, I honestly cannot remember right now. However, the first thing I had to do to get focused in reading is I deleted my social media. I deleted my Instagram at the time. I deleted it for a few months because I knew I had to focus. Social media was literally taking up about 7 hours of my day, going back on social media and watching stupid stuff. Just it was stuff that was funny, but it was all distracting. Another thing about technology that you need to use it to your benefit is I used to work graveyard shift at a apartment complex where I'll just make my rounds. I can't read while I'm walking. I don't want to get motion sickness, and also you're not focused. I used Audible. I heard a lot of those books. I heard Think and Grow Rich probably 2 or 3 times by now. And I'm using technology to my benefit. I'm using technology to help me. Social media, like I said, will be a huge distraction. So in the beginning, to get your focus, you need to turn away from it. If you're not using social media for business or for something, a project, something more than just leisure and attention seeking, it's a waste of time. But I'll be honest, social media is also powerful. 2 of my 2 main mentors that have helped me establish my brand and my business, I found on Instagram, both of them. Both. So social media can be a source of great success. I'm using social media now to grow my brand and get my message out. It's all about using these things. But before you can conquer it, you need to walk away from it and come back when your headset is in the right place.
Right. Right, Matthew. Well explained.
Thank
Now,
you.
when you take some decisions, you find your purpose, you find your passion, and you try and move forward, how do you know whether you are moving forward or stagnant? Many a times, when you start something,
Mhm.
it can, be a lot of hard work, and success does not come easy. So
Mhm.
many a times you think you have not taken the right step. Many a times it can be, a lot of rethinking about success, that
Mhm.
this is not the perhaps the right way to move forward. How
Mhm.
did you know that you are moving forward? What are the things? Did you look at others' benefit that, okay, they are gaining benefit, so you feel good about it? I want to understand your mindset about success in terms of, that your story is moving forward and is not being stagnant.
Mhm. Well, one indicator of you moving in the right direction means things get difficult. That's a reality. Like they use the example of video games. When you're going and there's more opponents and there's more enemies, you know you're going in the right place. And the video game is just a creation of man who is making a simulation of reality, right? Well, that's one indicator. Another indicator is your conscience. Your conscience is the connection to the higher power, whatever higher power you believe that to be. Let's not get stuck on the names of what it is. There is a higher power. We can agree on that. And our conscience is our connection to that. So our conscience is telling us we know what we're supposed to do. The problem is we don't want to. The problem is we ignore it. The problem is it's not convenient at the time. So that's one way to find out. That's many ways, is that if it's getting difficult, and your conscience is going to tell you which way to go. And honestly, another thing that kept me going is because I hit rock bottom. Honestly, I hit rock bottom, and I looked at myself and I was disgusted with myself. And God took me out of my situation. And He put me here with my parents, who loved me and showed love and kindness the whole time, and patience, because I'm sure it wasn't easy dealing with me. I'm sure it's not easy dealing with me now, but they they were definitely um, instrumental in my change and my growth, because they could have easily, with the things that I'd done, the way that I was raised, but the path I ended up taking, they could have just been completely religious and strict, and just even rejecting me. They could have, but they didn't. They embraced me with their love and kindness. And that's why I'm where I am today.
Right. Right, Matthew. And so, with all that learning, you are now, helping the world through
Mhm.
whatever ways you can, especially through fitness. So, tell us, you are the creator of Ready Evolve. Tell us a bit about Ready Evolve.
Mhm.
It's a nice name. I want to understand what led to this particular name.
Sure. I was raised Christian. Let's just let, so I don't believe in evolution, but I like the word evolution. I like the concept of evolution, because I believe if a human being is born and they die without evolving in their mind, their capabilities, I believe that's a waste of life. Everybody can change. Everybody can be better. People that say people don't change, that's just a person who decided not to change. I don't believe that. Um, Ready Evolve means readiness through evolution. And evolution only happens through struggle. Evolution will only happen when, like in the definition of the term, a creature needs to survive. You need to adapt to the situation, so they evolve. And being a person who's ready for anything through the evolution of struggle. And for me, Ready Evolve, it's kind of funny. It's ironic, because it started out as a fitness program. And I'll be honest, I wanted to make money and this was back in August. I was like, okay, how do I make money? Okay, if I charge this much, I'll get this much. And, it's evolved into something that is about mindset and habit stacking, about changing your way of life and not just you changing your body. You still change your body. You still manage your health, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. So my program itself has evolved over time. I have evolved over time. That's the whole point, right? So that's why it's called Ready Evolve.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There is much to learn about, about personal development, about mindset, about success, about fitness. And this is just one show. There is so much to learn from you. So for those who would like to learn about you, learn from you, what is the best way for them to connect with you?
Best way to connect with me is as it's typed out, Ready Evolve, one word, on Instagram. I'm also on TikTok and Facebook.
Wonderful. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.